My name's Duncan White. I'm the managing editor of the Fire and Safety Journal Americas, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Rory Russell, President of Acquisition and Funding Services. Rory, great to see you, my friend. How are you?
Nice to meet you, Duncan. Pleasure to meet you today. Thank you.
Oh, it's great, and having read about you for a long time and seen the head-to-heads that we've done with you in Fire and Safety Journal Americas, it's great to be chatting to you in person and listening and learning from what you're good at. And so, Rory, tell the listener a little bit more about you, a little bit about the company, and how did you get started?
How I got started is probably about 40 years ago. I owned one of the largest regional companies in the Northeast of America, USA. I was the largest regional company. I was with AT&T at the time. I was one of their authorized AT&T dealers, one of their top producing, and also had the top rankings as far as customer service. So we did that. We were doing about 5 million back then. That was 40 years ago. 5 million is equivalent to probably 15 million today. So we're very big. We were very conscientious about the customers. Obviously, customers are very important. The clients were always king. And we did that for the longest time. And AT&T decided to exit the industry. They went with down the road of the cell business, a small products division that we were part of, which was the phone stores, the Princess phones used to buy, the answering machines back. I'm dating myself. I was part of that small product. They closed that division up. So my banker came to me and said, Rory, what do you want to do now? I said, well, I'd like to sell it. So we sold it for a good amount of money. And he said, what do you want to, so what's next? I go, I don't know. What do you think? He goes, Rory, you're one of the top people in the industry. People know you've been in all the trade magazines. You're the golden boy, so to speak. That's the way they called me. In the security business. So why don't you go out and lend people money? And I said, well, you sure I want to do that? He says, I think you'd be good at it. So I went out and I lent money to people wanting to borrow in the security industry in the United States. And we did that for years. And then I had quite a few customers said, I don't want to sell, Rory. I don't want to finance. I want to sell my business. And I said, well, I don't really do that. And one day my attorney called me and said, Rory, I got a client owes me money. I know you. Why don't I create an agreement for us and I want you to go sell his business. Okay, I'll take a try at it. And we sold his business. He got paid and I got made a happy lawyer. And I continued with that. And I think I'm my 30th year now doing this mergers and acquisition. The name of my company is called AFS, Acquisition and Funding Services, Mergers and Acquisitions. And I have a website, afssmartfunding.com. More I do now is mergers and acquisitions. That's what I do now. I work with mostly large regional companies and mostly national or international private equity companies. They have a plethora of money right now, and they're looking to buy security, fire integration companies. So I am the facilitator. I have been doing it for quite a long time. I have quite a few people I've developed relationships with. Private equity right now I've probably got a plethora of private equity, which love our industry. The security, fire, integration space is just, they love it. It's consistent, the revenue. They know there's no dips in it with the economy. It's mandated by local jurisdictions and also state and federal. So with the test and inspect with the fire business and monitoring of the fire system, it is a frothy business to be in, and it's a frothy business to sell. And we have a tremendous amount of buyers right now.
So let's look at a scenario, Rory. I've got a business within the existing fire market. I'm doing very well, but I'm looking to step away. Just to explain how that process works. So we pick up the phone and speak to Rory. What happens from that point on?
Well, the first thing obviously develop a rapport with each other, and see if we're comfortable with each other. I'll send you call me, I'll send you a non-disclosure agreement. Always, by the way, get a non-disclosure agreement. We keep it when you're dealing with people of my level, we keep it quiet. We're not out there. We talk to the people in the ivory tower. I don't want to use that term, but we're not talking to lower people, salespeople. We're talking to the decision makers of very large private equity companies. What we'll do is we'll get you an NDA. I'd like to get from you a questionnaire back, a short one with your name, address, phone number, so I can open a folder up for you. The questionnaire is very simple. You can do it online. It takes 2-3 minutes. And then once we get that, I'll like to see from you, from the potential seller. Again, it's always potential. If this is something they want to do and it fits and it feels right, we can move forward. But it's the decision of this, like a person like you, Duncan. It's your decision, not mine. What we'll do is I'd like to get a 12-month financial statements, last 12 months, trailing 12 months. I'd like to get a snapshot what that company's doing. So I'd like to get a profit, loss, and balance sheet and have it in front of me and go through it with you or the potential seller, and see if it's ready for sale. It might need some help before we put it on the market. I like to take a look at it, and if it's something I see, I'll discuss it with you, and I might even just raise it up the flagpole with some of my well qualified buyers. Typically, I buy when I sell to people, they're not spending their money. They're not actually taking the money out of their checkbook. It's coming out of a fund, from very large, well-funded private equity companies. So they're a little easier to do business with versus dealing with a small guy or medium-sized guy that's actually taking it out of his checkbook. So I'd like to, but that's the first thing to do is obviously get my arms around it. What you're selling, how much about revenue you're doing, how much EBITDA. EBITDA is profit. You take that, what the bottom line, what the company makes. And then there's a term called adjusted EBITDA, which I like to bring into, and that's the perks that you take as an owner, which you well deserve. So your car, vehicle, your wife's vehicle, all your insurances, that's all add backs. We'll put that into the EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation. And you'll hear that it's basically profit. Show me the profit. And what I like to see, one of the secrets I use, I like to see what's going to fall to the bottom line. So, a year later, after you've retired, you've moved on, and you're in Key West drinking margaritas, whatever you're doing, whatever you want to do, you want to go. I got a friend of mine who just sold his business, and he loves horses, and he has race horses, and that's what he loves to do, and that's what he's doing now, full time. But my job is to get you the best buyer that would fit with you and your culture and your people. One of the most important thing is making sure your people have a good company they're going to go to work for, and a company that's going to take care of them and give them as much benefits or more. Okay. Typically, the program that the buyers bring to the table is much better than what you or I could provide, Duncan. They are bigger companies. They have ability to buy better insurance and give better benefits.
So straight away, we are being looked after, taken on this journey hand in hand with you providing all the information that the prospective buyer needs, and having looked at whether the company is currently fit for sale. So it's very much a partnership, Rory, yeah, where you're working with the prospective buyer and doing the best and returning the best that you possibly can for their investment.
I do not work with. I only have a handful and a half of clients. I do not take everybody as a client. I have to give that white glove treatment. I'm available 24/7. They'll call me at 2:00 in the morning, but my point is I'm available on weekends. Just this past Saturday, I was on the phone with the seller, the representative, and the CEO of a very large company, and we hashed out on Saturday morning a letter of intent. We hashed out all the little details on a Saturday. Sometimes that's what it calls for. I like giving individual, we get to know each other. the process. I'm not just there in the beginning. I'm through. I am with that client through the whole process. We speak daily or every other day. I work with we have an attorney that we work with, an M&A attorney, very reasonable. I work with her. I work with the client. I work with the due diligence team. So I'm involved from A to Z. One thing unique about me is that I ask clients only to sign a 90-day agreement, auto renewal. You like me, I like you. I'm bringing good qualified buyers to you. You like what's going on, we continue with agreement. I typically do a 90-day. I prefer that auto renewal. I don't ask for any money up front. A lot of business brokers will ask 10%, will ask for a retainer of $10,000, $15,000, non-refundable, and plus expenses sometimes. I do none of that. I ask for no money up front. All I ask for is a commitment to work with me, be available, and watch your cell phone number. I want to be able to call you. If you're not available, call me back. But I'm looking to walk you through the whole process, bring you to the church, walk you down the aisle, get to the altar, take our vows, and then go on our honeymoon. Okay? But I don't get paid until the seller gets paid. All right, and not until then. So I think any money's up front. So, and there's guys out there that'll do that, and be aware. Okay, there's no reason for that. But they're virtual lease closings. Typically, they're not done at a closing table like the old days. But we bring a lot to the table. The knowledge we bring is incredible. You've heard the story about the ship that's running aground, and they bring a mechanic on board and fix the engine. The engines are out. Mechanic comes in with a little tool belt, goes down to the boiler room, taps on the engine, and all of a sudden the engine starts working. Comes up, hands the captain a bill for $10,000. Captain says, "You're only down there for 5 minutes." He goes, "What's that for?" He goes, "Well, the first $9,000 was my knowledge. the 1,000 is for where to know where to hit." So that the ship didn't go aground. Okay, so I think that's something that I think I was close to the story, but you get my gist. It's the knowledge and the reputation I have as being a boutique broker. Again, I don't take everybody. I want good quality sellers that are serious about selling their business. We're looking for sellers that have something to sell, who worked their whole life for their legacies. They may have their family involved, and we can also work it so the family also stays on as well. And the name, a lot of these buyers will keep the names. The buyers I work with will keep that same name and maybe do some co-branding, but they take care of all their people. You get your money up front most of the time. We'll get your money. There's no promissory notes. We don't want to do them. There might be a 10% holdback for reps and warranties for 1 year. That's put in an escrow account. Another nice thing is that you also have the ability with some of the better companies. They'll allow you to have the ability to buy stock, Class A stock, the same stock that the owner has, or the CEO has, or the CFO has. You're able to buy some of that stock, and most of the time, people like us don't have the ability to buy into a private equity. Typically, that if you put $1 million in it, say your business is worth $5 million or $10 million, and you want to put $1 million, that's their choice. That can turn into $3 and $4 million within 3, 4, 5 years. So you get another bite of the apple. So you get your money, and then you can buy some stock. And that stock turns into, when they sell to another private equity, you can double, triple it. It's a nice, and I've got quite a few success stories. People who have done that, who have made put $1 million and come back with $3 million within a short period of time, 2-3 years.
And that, like you say, it's that process of not losing touch with something that generations have built up over time, and it's an easier way of saying goodbye, maybe, that very often turns into a very lucrative final dividend. Rory, in the short amount of time that we've known you, as in Fire Safety Journal Americas, and the conversations you've had with my colleague Ian, and the great interview you guys have done, it's very easy to see that what people get with you is exactly what it says on the tin. I think you've talked me through what is an extremely stressful process for somebody that wants to sell their business, and it's going to be a difficult journey. It's going to be at times, I would think, an emotional journey. But from what I can see from you, the whole process is done in a way, and we used the term partnership previously, that you're working with the seller to ensure that they're going to get the best return. And you must have some great success stories. Is there anything that you can share with us?
Let's see. I got a gentleman, protective measures. I just sold. It was a quite a sizable deal. Oh, I got to be careful, get confidentiality, but it was a very large transaction. He called me up about a year ago and he said, "My wife wants me to sell the business." I had that heart attack, the widowmaker heart attack, and she said, either you got to sell it because the business is gonna you're getting to the point where the business is affecting your health. So I put him on the fast track. I got him. He says, "Rory, I only want $14 million." He said something like that. Because I know basically what I got to do here. He says, "This is what I need." So we went down the road. We talked to multiple buyers, and we qualified them. Some fit, some didn't. One culture was you liked a lot. The other one you didn't like the culture. They were going to fold it into another company. Didn't want that type of scenario. You wanted to keep it in an existing building. Wanted to keep his people under one roof. Um, we end up. I walked him through. He was a workaholic. I can tell you that much. And we end up getting him a substantial, more than twice what he was looking for. So, with that being said, and he's a happy camper. He stayed on for about 3 months. Made sure all the transition was good. His son took over. He got some stock. The daughter who runs the HR, she got some stock because he had bought some stock in the deal. And long and short of it, they're running the organization just as before. The name is the same, business as usual, except they have that big company name behind them, which gives all those beautiful benefits, retirement plans, AFLEC, disability insurance. They actually have a stock sharing process too, addition to what Dad gave. But that turned into a situation where this gentleman's so much happier now. That was one where gentleman, because of health, had to retire. I got another gentleman that's up in Concord, New Hampshire. He's still working today. It's 3 years later. He just loves being out in the field, doing his thing. He takes off early Fridays, comes in late Mondays. He has a flexible schedule. He works at a nice pace. He's not killing himself. He doesn't have to do it the back office anymore. And business is just doing phenomenal. Business as usual, actually. Actually, he's doing more business because he's brought more things to the clients, more like fire extinguishers. He wasn't doing fire extinguishers. He wasn't doing access control. This new company they joined with does that. So there's more products available to their clients so that the sales have gone up. So long and short of it, that's one. I got another one working on right now. It's in California. It's another very large transaction. He just, he wants to work. He wants to go in and do his, come in half a day of every day. He's fine with, keep an eye on things. He just gave both sons $1 million worth of stock. 2 sons are running the organization. And he got his chips off the table. And he bought some stock as well. So my point is, they typically leave these companies alone and they keep the name to keep the legacy moving, because the client only knows that company. The bigger one, not so much. So we try to keep the name the same and keep business as usual as much as possible.
And you touched upon the best results for the workforce. A lot of these companies and these owners you're dealing with, and we touched on the generations where grandfather, great grandfather started the business maybe just after the war, and we're now seeing the time come to let go. But it's not just the family that are letting go. You've also got the employees, and like you say, a lot of those have been with the company for a very, very long time. And I think that you look upon that the relationships with those family firms and their employees, and for their own peace of mind, they want to know that the new owners of the business are going to look after and treat the employees the same way that they were treated through the family firm. And I think that would give me a peace of mind, that knowing that you're going out there to find an organization that not only is going to pay a fair price, but also that's going to look after the most valuable asset, if you like, the employees.
That legacy is important. I think, again, my clients are typically baby boomers. I think you're a baby boomer. I'm a baby boomer. The guys came back from war. They married. They had families. While they were having a family, they started a security company, maybe in their garage, maybe in their basement, or a security fire company, maybe out of a truck. They got sons or daughters that are in the business, or sometimes they don't. And that's why it's a good idea to start looking at this now, because it does take a while, by the way, from start to finish, depending on the seller. It could be as soon as 90 days. It could take 6 months, depending on the time. This is a good time of year, by the way, to call me, because people are filling their pipelines. The private equities are looking to put these businesses, know what they're going to be buying for this next year. This is a very good time to be looking into selling your business. Duncan, if it was you or me, we get to speak to these people. You'll get comfortability. You'll know your gut feeling. You'll know which buyer. It's not always about money, by the way. Money's important, but the fit is important. The culture, making sure that's good. You'll know if this is the right fit. At some point in time when we decide to move forward, it'll be, yes, I like those guys, or no, I'm not too crazy about those guys. We'll have that time. We need that time to sort through which bride we want to take down the aisle, or which groom we want to take down the aisle.
And I get the impression and the good feeling that you don't push anybody down the aisle straight away. You let them see what's out there, and that relationship grow before the decisions are made.
I'm not a broker. Okay, I am a broker. I'm more of a team leader. I feel like I'm in a team to make this come together and keep everybody on track. One of the things that happens sometimes is a deal can come apart, and what you need is the glue. I'm the glue that keeps the deal from falling apart. A good deal. But something comes up and people get emotional when it's selling. This is their life. This is what they built over years and years and years. Their grandfather had it, and they've got it now, and they want to make sure it falls in the right hands. And it can get very emotional. So I'm the buffer. I'm the one. What the sellers are emotional, but the buyers can get a little touchy sometimes. And my job is to keep it together, keep it moving. If it's something we want to do, let's get it done. And I drive the deal, make sure that everybody pays attention to it. So it doesn't. By the way, I always say it's better to keep it moving. If it stalls, chance of it falling apart. So we want to make sure we pay attention to it, and I do. And it's one thing you'll get with me is we become friends. We get to know each other. We work with each other, and that's important for us to have a successful transaction and get you the most bang for the buck. But it's boom. Let me tell you right now, business is booming. I mean, there is such a plethora of capital out there right now that needs to be deployed. They call it deployed, meaning get it in the hands of the sellers. They're on a mission, and if anytime anybody's going to sell, this is the time. I've never seen the valuations. I just got a gentleman that was had $1 million of $1 million of EBITDA, and yesterday we signed a letter of intent for $11 million on that deal. $1 million of profit. He did $5 million a year, and he's got the purchase price was the enterprise value was $10 million. He was able to. They said you keep your cash. He had $1 million in his checkbook, so they gave him $11 million. The deal's $11 million deal, and we'll close probably 60 days. I met that gentleman. He actually saw saw the magazine, the Inside the Mind of the Deal Maker. That was January's issue. And he called me. And then we got to meet. We talked on the phone quite a bit. We did a Zoom call. And with this communication, it makes life a lot easier. When we interview people, we'll do some interviews on like a Microsoft Teams meeting or whatever. But what we'll do is at some point in time, we'll all get together at the gentleman's offsite. We won't do a meeting on premise unless it's after hours, but we'll get comfortability before we'll actually sign anything. Well, the goal is to get the value that the seller's looking for. The terms are important. I always say the big print giveth, small print taketh. You really got to read the fine print. That's where the clawbacks are. My job, doing this, is to make sure that we don't have any trap doors. That you're going to get all your money, and you're going to be happy. A year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So that's my job. But I think it's always you always hire an expert. There's a lot of things in life that you think you can do on your own. Lawyer says a client that represents himself as a fool. Always you need to have me in between you and the buyers. And by the way, the first buyer is not always is the best buyer. Okay. I might use a frame like I like dating 3 different girls, different guys, if you're a guy or a woman, but we'll date some different people, and we'll see which one, walks the talk and can actually deliver, and of course I have done business with 15, 16, 17, 18 different private equity. So I know that, like, there's one company, it starts with a C. It's an international company, and I would not take anybody to them. My worst enemy. They're in the first letter is C, and the last is S, and it's a company that's well known to everybody. And I will not take my worst enemy to them. They are destroyers of businesses. They do what they want post close, and that's not what we want. We want someone that tells you this is what we're going to do after close. You want to know what's going to happen to my employees, what's going to happen to my name, what's going to happen with my building. Is everybody going to be on a retirement plan? Everybody going to have the same salary or more? They're going to have better benefits. And that's what my job is, and we'll make sure of that.
And you know what? In this short period of time chatting, Rory, it comes across as exactly that. And you mentioned that one of your recent clients saw the interview with that you did with Ian inside the mind of a deal maker. And for anybody that wants to read that, then that's freely available on Fire and Safety Journal Americas.com. That was the January issue 10.
All right. So yeah, please, it's good. It's got good read in it. It's definitely something you're looking to sell. Definitely take a look at it. Pull it up online. It'll tell you a lot of good information. It pertains to any business, by the way. If you're selling a heating company, it will work. It has all the ingredients for you to make a sale. To be aware of, to make a sale.
And you'll be looking at the right issue of the magazine because Rory's face is on the front cover. So and that was a great story. Rory and I were chatting earlier about our work attire. Rory goes to work in a red tie. I go to work and I always put a tie on, and it's the age that we are, the generation that we are. But I feel that I'm able to work my best when I've got a suit and a tie on, and it just sets the tone nicely. And I'm sure that when we get to meet face to face, we will be able to compliment each other on our ties. But
I have a phone number. People can call me directly. Feel free. My cell phone is with me everywhere as I go. Call me, 518. I live in upstate New York, by the way. I'm on the Vermont border, but I cover the whole country. 518-366-5111. Rory Russell, 518-366-5111. and we can walk through some of these questions you might have. I also have a website called afssmartfunding.com that you can look at that. And of course, you can always, if you want to read up on me, again, we can go to the journal there and January's issue, and it'll tell you a lot about me as well and what I can bring to the table. One thing I got to say again, remember, I do not ask for any money up front. I'm looking to get comfortable with you. If you like me, I like you. We can work together. I get paid when you get paid, and not until then. I don't ask for any money up front. I'm fair. I'm honest. I've got a very good reputation out there in the world. I am probably the top broker boutique I want to use, because there's big firms that have 10, 15, but I am the top broker, I would call, with the white glove treatment like I give in the United States today. I can honestly say that. If you're looking to sell, you've got something you built hard and you want it to go to the right people, I'm your guy. I'm the guy that will bring in the right buyer and get the transaction done in a timely manner.
So, folks, you've heard it here first, and the information on Rory's website is first class. So between the Fire and Safety Journal Americas and afssmartfunding.com, all the information is there for you. I'm looking forward, Rory, that there may be some time in the next few months where our paths will cross in person, and I look forward to that.
I'm looking forward to meeting you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you, Duncan, as well. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
It'll be great, Rory, and I really appreciate that. I'm Duncan White. I'm the managing editor of the Fire and Safety Journal Americas, and it's been my absolute pleasure, and I mean that most sincerely, absolute pleasure talking with Rory Russell.